Awesome, guys. Well, I'm going to chat for maybe 10, 15, 20 minutes. And then my goal is to just talk to you guys and you guys can ask me anything, any support, any help you need. Love to do some pitching. We can pitch back and forth and answer some questions, talk about your strategies, entrepreneurship, business, scaling your practices, real estate, tax optimization, whatever you guys need. Is that fair? Are we good? Thumbs up. Well, thank you for joining. The goal here, is we're all looking for that breakthrough, right? So, and a lot of it is many of you guys want to do certain things, but perhaps something is holding us back. And a lot of times that was holding me back. Like one of the big things was, oh, who am I to start my own practice? I'm used to working for a hospital system or a private practice, right? How can I go start my own practice? And so that was my limiting belief there. When I was trying to try real estate, I was like, hey, doctors are horrible investors. How can I get involved in real estate? Oh, isn't real estate risky? Right? Right. These are all the head trash I had. And then when I'm talking about, the coaching or consulting or starting an entrepreneurship thing, I was like, hey, who would listen to me? How do I have the right to even talk to anyone about this? Or what can I even share that's even valuable? And so these are just examples of limiting beliefs. And wherever you are in the healthcare profession, that it could possibly be holding you back. And the second thing is I don't have time, right? I don't have free time because time is you have the same amount of time as Oprah, as Steve Jobs, as, Jensen Huang, the founder of NVIDIA. Oh, I have to tell you a funny story. So on the last mastermind group, I was like, I was just, we're doing some coaching and, I was asking, hey, who is a famous figure here? And then, they talked about the millionaires and eventually some billionaires got listed. And one was Jensen Huang. And I'm like, all right, what's the likelihood of Jensen Huang being somewhere connected to Limitless MD? And people are like, oh, there's no way. There's absolutely no way. And then I showed him this picture and I'll show it to you guys. Okay, here it is. So I said, I was telling the group, I'm like, what's the possibility of Limitless MD, being connected to a billionaire? I'm like, oh, there's no way. And so we're talking about the concept of synchronicity. Synchronicity is this concept where the more you believe something, the more you manifest it, the more you think about it, eventually it shows up in your life. And so this is the picture. And let me show it to you here. You guys see this picture right here? You guys seeing it? Okay, cool. So, and if you guys can show your faces, that's easier for me. That way, it's hard to talk to a bunch of black boxes. So the more you can show, the better. But if you're driving, I get it and stuff. But
Yeah.
so this picture is two of our coaching clients. Matt is a anesthesiologist at NYU, and he's in New York, and this is his wife, and she's starting a diamond business startup entrepreneurship. They're in the previous mastermind they just got started, and they went to Paris for their just a trip. And as they were sitting down at this ramen shop, guess who sits down next to them? And for those of you who don't know who this Asian man is, that's the founder of NVIDIA. He's a billionaire, and his name is Jensen Huang. Randomly, and so he was like, for context, we had to read somewhere to write down, to keep a journal of the synchronicities, the magic, the luck that we experience. And by doing that, we recognize events and more will come our way. Well, we were randomly passing by a ramen shop in Paris. After a long tour of the Louvre, we decided to sit down. And he says, they recognized him immediately, but they felt nervous to talk to him. And then they finally eventually spoke to him, and they had a great meal together, and they hung out. So I guess the message here is like anything is possible. And who knows where that connection is going to go, right? He has now a connection to a billionaire in his cell phone, which is pretty cool. So don't believe the negativity. Don't believe the limiting beliefs. Realize there is a pathway forward. And whatever your dreams, goals, or visions are, they can come true. And the only thing that's not guaranteed is the timeline, right? Some of your goals can come true in 3 months. Some may take 3 years. I don't know, but they can be manifested as long as you pursue them. All right, so now let me go back to my little slides. Appreciate you guys humoring my little side story, but I just thought it was so cool that one of our coaching clients met a billionaire. So, all right, let's talk about time, right? So I want to talk about how to free up 5 hours per week in your schedule. One of the common things I ask a lot of the clients to do is they do a time audit. And really a time audit is like, all right, I have my cell phone here, right? And imagine it going off every 15 minutes during a typical workday. If you're working in the hospital or whatever, or in the clinic, or if you're doing procedures, right? It's like boom, 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 boom. So from let's say you get up, I get up at 4:45 every day, but Some of you get it for 5, some of you get 6, 7, whatever. As soon as you get up till the time you go to sleep, every 15 minutes, you can have a set a timer that keeps recurring. And then as buzzes on your phone or your watch, you just write down in your like cell phone or on a piece of paper that you're carrying, what are you doing that day? And then when you do all of that, you go back and say, hey, was it a good use of my time, middle use of your time, or not a great use of your time? And so you can take a highlighter and make it green, yellow, or red. Now, if you did that, you'd find a lot of BS on your calendar or a lot of stuff that's not probably, things that you need to get done. So then you use what I call the A2D2 formula. It sounds like a Star Wars droid, but it's really just stands for automate, AI, delegate, and delete. Automate. What does that mean? One of the big things we do with email, right? Who here, I'm asking the chat box, who here does a lot of email? How many, does anyone spend at least an hour a day on email or a couple hours a week on email? Fantastic. So one of the things is like there's an automation called like smart folders, right? It automatically gets delegated in, and then unsubscribing from a lot of things is very important. But then like these smart folders, and so then you can do is, hey, once a week, I anything that's important you can keep in your inbox, but anything that typically is a newsletter or something else, a promotion, an advertisement, something, you check maybe once a month and clean it out, or once a week, right? That's an example of an automation. And then delegate, right? A lot of times we're doing things that someone else with a little bit lesser skill sets can get done. So like if you're a cardiologist, perhaps you can help. You can get your MA or your scribe or your office manager to do something that instead that's been on your plate. Or if you're a physician and you're a solo practice, why not get some NPs and PAs to help you out? And the other thing is delete. We say yes to so many things in our schedule, and perhaps we should start deleting and saying no. Like a lot of times, I remember the hospital, people ask me to be on this committee or that committee or this board or this group of things or do this joint commission, and I would just fill up my schedule to everything, and it didn't really fulfill me. It didn't lead to more income, and it really wasn't aligned with my priorities. And so I started saying no and deleting things. And man, my life got a lot more simpler, and it was more enjoyable. Other things are like I could go and we have a little stone fountain in our backyard, and in the summer times the fountain turns on and it goes, but it takes about 3 or 4 hours for me to turn that fountain on and do all of it. So now I pay somebody like, I don't know, like $50 an hour to go and launch the fountain and clean up my backyard. And instead, I get to be on a call with you, or I'm hanging out with my kids, or maybe I'm working on my real estate or something like that. That's a higher ROI on my time, right? So you want to do things that make more sense with the most valuable resource you have, which is your time. Do you guys have a lot of documentation? Who here has documentation things? Like how much documentation do you have to do a day or in a week? Is that a lot for many of you? How many hours, let me say, how many hours a day do you spend after your clinic documenting? 10 hours. Wow. Okay. Per day or all the time? Or like multiple times a day? 10 hours. And, he's easily a $300, $400, $500 an hour kind of person. So if we can use that time, that could be like $5,000 of time that's being taken from Rag. Perhaps we could put that and give it to a scribe, an AI, a virtual assistant, a medical student, coming in and doing that. So getting this off your plate. A lot of the doctors I work with now, they don't touch the keyboard. They've figured out a way where they can dictate, they can say things, and they go room to room to room to room. They can get a little bit more done. They could probably see 3, 4, 5 more patients, or they only work 4 days a week because they figured out how to do all the work that requires in 5 days. They can do it in 4 days now, and they take Fridays off. So this is just simple ways where we can start freeing up time. And then, technology is getting better and better. If you're using AI in your daily, in medicine or in life, put AI in the chat. Let me see how many people are using AI. Put AI if you're using that in your life. Okay, I got 2 people using AI. Any more? Okay, great. The hospital is. But the key is, are you using it, right? We want you to use it too. Great. So you're starting to use it, right? It's important. Now, I'm telling you, I use AI like at least 7 times a day, and it's making my life easier and easier and easier. Now, yes, there's some errors. Yes, there's things that it doesn't understand, but we're dealing with probably 4th grade version of AI. By next summer, it's going to be college level. probably by the following year, it's going to be smarter than everyone else on the planet. That's how fast things are changing. And then obviously Microsoft, this Dragon, this Copilot, this is an example of an AI technology that's when they first had this, Dragon dictation, it was okay. It's apparently from what a lot of my doctor friends are telling me now who are still practicing, they're saying it's gotten infinitely better. And so then once we do all these things, we want to learn to buy back your time, right? And so there's something called the doctor buyback rate. And for a lot of you, if you want a copy of my book, all of this is in there. Rohan, if you're still on this call, can you put a link to the book in there when you get a chance?
I can.
So if anyone wants to download it, and guys, the doctor buyback rate is this. Basically, what is your hourly rate? Let's say I'm a GI doctor. I make $500,000 a year. Great, and that's excellent. Divide that by 2,000, then you divide it by 4, and then when you get that's essentially your buyback rate. So if you are doing any activity that's less than that amount, you want to outsource that out. If it's more than an amount, you can still do it. So for that GI doctor making $500,000 a year, $62 an hour, he'll outsource, or he or she will outsource anything less than that. If you did that, how much stuff can come off your plate? Let's put in the chat box. How much stuff will come off your plate if you had, like, I don't know, $20, $30 an hour threshold where anything less than that you can outsource? Wouldn't that be great? Would that help any of you? Come interact with me, guys.
I know it helps me, Vikram. I took your advice. I've been outsourcing things in my life,
Yeah.
cleaning off my plate.
Yeah. Awesome, guys. Yeah. Yeah. Why not? Right. And it's not that, I mean, if let's say you wanted to just sit on your butt and watch like the next Mission Impossible, you could do that. You could also read a book. You could also, hang out with your kids. You can also go out to dinner. You can do so many things that give you peace of mind and help you refresh, or you can do things that are meaningful for your work too. You can work on your projects or on all the stuff that you want to work on, but you never have time to do. So that's the power of buying back your time. So between the two strategies we've talked about, one is the time audit, it's the A2D2 strategy. Then it's getting the documentation off our plate. And then finally, it's learning what is important to delegate and what's important for me to do. And if you did this, guys, this is what happens. This is your schedule. This is how you become limitless. Everyone in the world has 168 hours. If you do all these things, the typical things, 8 hours a day of sleeping, 10 hours a day of working, 3 hours a day of family, 3 hours a day of eating and personal care, 1 hour a day of even watching TV, this leaves 13 hours a day, right? In those 13 hours, the goal is, doing things that can start building this non-clinical income. And this is whether that's real estate, that's why you starting something entrepreneurial, or maybe taking your clinic and being the CEO of your clinic and scaling it, or maybe launching an ASC. That's sort of the strategy. The last strategy I want to share with you guys is 3 things I do in my work week that help me feel that I'm not overwhelmed and I have a lot of free time. And I feel like I'm in control of my schedule versus the schedule is running me. So what I do is every morning I have a time for myself to recharge. I what I call a 20-20-20 routine. I work out, I meditate, I journal, or I'm grateful or something like that. So that's what I do in my little 20-20-20 slot, 20 minutes of each thing. And then on Saturday mornings, I get up before my family and I work on something that I should have done during the week, but I didn't have a chance to, and I get caught up, right? Or I do something that's something that's going to really advance me forward. I work on one of my projects, my side hustles, and I do it before anyone gets up. Peaceful, it's quiet. I'm drinking some tea, and it's enjoyable morning. And then I have the whole day with my family, unless I'm on call, like, right, unless you guys are on call, whatever. And on Sunday, what I do is I plan my whole week out, meaning I plan out all the clinical responsibilities, if that's on or my business responsibilities. I plan out my kids' practices. I put in my calendar, hey, I'm making the kids' lunches today. I'm talking about, hey, I need to talk to my dad. I haven't talked to him in a while. I put, any meetings, any physical activity. Hey, I'm getting trained by a trainer, personal trainer that day. All of that is laid out for the week. And what I realize is, man, if someone says, hey, can I meet with you on Thursday at 4 o'clock? I'm like, hey, I can't meet with you on Thursday at 4, but I can meet with you Friday at 3. Does that work? If you want something done, ask a busy person, because a person who's unscheduled and undisciplined and unscripted, they don't have control of their time. This gives you back control. Write this down, guys. This is a writer downer. Discipline equals freedom. And I'm sharing with you a way to operationalize discipline. our coaching, I want to just quickly get to this, and then I just want to get off this slide and just start talking to you guys. But really, guys, I really would love for you to join the coaching program. There's a lot in here, right? You have coaching, you have community, you have all the curriculum we've created. That's amazing. But really, the goal is we want to get you to your goals, right? The program to work with us for a whole year is 20K. It was originally 30. We dropped it because we really want to serve as many people as possible and make it affordable as possible for everyone to get in. You have a personal one-on-one coach. You have me as your mastermind leader for the whole year. You have 2 retreats, and you have all of the benefits that come with all of this. But let me show you what this looks like. So I want to get off the share, and I want to just start working with you guys. So let's do this. Who here has a juicy, delicious goal they want to accomplish this year, and they've run into some challenges, and they would like some help, some insights, some coaching on it?
Feel free to raise your hand in the Zoom chat and I can unmute you, or you can put it in the chat. I can unmute you. Unmute you.
Let's go, my cardiology buddy.
Are you asking me to share?
Yes, we're ready.
Here, let's do it.
Well, as you know, sorry, I had another meeting going and I have another one that I have to jump on, but
No worries.
female, I'm like, like there's a small percentage of female cardiologists. At Sinai, we probably have 100 males and maybe 6 females. So, and I have a family. But the challenging thing is because I'm being asked to do a lot of things. Like I'm on all these, like you said, boards and organizations. I'm being invited a lot of places to speak and do this and be in committees and this and that. Some I get paid for, some I don't. So my time is even more busy than you suggested, because outside of all those other things, and I have to find time for these other organizations. I started my own. I had a practice. I told you that I ended up just deciding to go full time. But I started my own product during the pandemic. It was called Dr. Icy's Butters and Balms. And and I have a very wide audience of women, but I just don't have the time to develop it. But
Okay.
people are very interested.
So Dr. Icy, I'm gonna pause it there. If you fight for your limitations, you get to keep them. You have the time is you're being pulled in so many different directions, and that's because you have so many different priorities. And so the goal is, how can we align your priorities to where you have income, impact, fulfillment, and you get to still be super mom, super cardiologist, and everything else, right? Is there a way to do that? I think there is. And so really the key is, let's look at something has to give, because that is you have a product already and you already have a following. Are you also on social media? Is it like a presence? Like it's cool?
I may need a social media manager because I don't have time. I want to, and I want to be visible, but I don't have time to be on social media all the time, posting, staying relevant, staying busy, and being relevant and showing things. So I have to figure out how to do that.
Guys, everyone else on the call, watch this. I'm going to do something to Dr. Icy, and it will help us get clarity. So you guys are going to put on the coaching hat with me. We'll do this together. If I gave Dr. Icy $5 million check to invest in her company, Dr. Icy's Butter Bombs, what would happen? How would that perspective change how you treat your cardiology rigmarole?
Are you talking to me or the group?
Yes. No. I'm talking back to you. I'm asking you. So if I gave you, Dr. Icy, if I gave you a $5 million check and said, hey, I'm investing in your company, I want to blow it up, what would you do differently with your schedule?
I would make sure that I would delegate. I would have somebody doing the research to figure out how to make it successful, to market, to promote, to do all of that. I don't have time to do all of that myself. I do have a couple of people who work for me, but they work for me as it relates to work. My administrative assistant, my study coordinator, my nurse practitioners, but all of that is work-related stuff. I don't have any time to do stuff for my own self. So having that money would allow me the freedom to hire others who can help me to carry out what I know how to do, but I just don't have time to do it.
That's awesome. So would you still work? Do you enjoy cardiology? And would you still do it full time, or would you like to do it part time?
I wouldn't have to do it full time. I could reduce the amount of time I see patients.
Okay.
concentrate on my product.
So an ideal life for you could look like this. You work maybe 3, 4 days a week. You'd have time for your product and you'd have a little more flexibility in your life. Is that correct? That's awesome. All right. So that is the clarity I would write down and say, hey, that's the 2025 goal. And that's what we would want to work with you on during this year. And so how would we do that, right? The how is what everyone wants to know. The how is the easiest part. Feeling comfortable starting to, at the beginning, you work 2 jobs to eventually work no jobs, because then you really get to work and play at the same time. So when I was a full-time cardiologist and I had this interest to launch my own clinic, I would, study and do things on the nights and weekends, but I would start getting teams, and maybe I was a virtual assistant at the beginning. Maybe that's a volunteer. Maybe that's a friend or a family member who's willing to put some hours in. But I would start working on this on the side while I was working full time. And then I would relinquish some of the responsibilities that are unnecessary in cardiology and stick to the core responsibilities, but deliver them flawlessly and start freeing up some of that powerful time, and then start allocating it to that project, your product. I would also use your platform as a cardiologist to, leverage in social media, in connections and contacts. And then I would also find a pathway to power. Remember, proximity is power. Who else has a product that they've marketed to customers or to consumers or direct or influence marketing, right? Find someone who's already done that. And for example, one of our coaching clients, her name is Dr. Reina Trevino. She's from Chicago. She's a pediatrician. And while she was working full time as a pediatrician, she built a product that is a nasal syringe for babies to suck out, like, I guess, sputum or phlegm. And she found a better product. And so she created a manufacturing, she launched it, she used her social media platform to popularize it. And now it's a 7-figure company. But it all started with that idea like you have. Is it doable? What do you think? Is it doable?
It's doable.
Will it require reconfiguring how you think about cardiology, perhaps?
Yeah, because, you said mom, I still have children or kids in college. So, you get nervous that you don't want to lose your stream of income because you want to make sure that you have other responsibilities that you need to fulfill, and you don't want to quit work, yet, and so that's the hesitation right there.
And so I really think that business doesn't need that many hours to get it off the ground and start producing income for you. And so it's more about strategic hours. If we can devote 5 hours a week to that business, it will thrive. But it's also what we do in those 5 hours that makes the difference, right? And so the right sequence, the right information, and then we bring on team members and partners. And it doesn't have to cost you a lot of money. Even though I said 5 million, what if it only costs you $5,000 a month or $500 a month to get someone to start working on your company? Would that make a difference? Do you feel good? Do you feel like there's a possibility there for you?
Sure. If if that's really the case, being able to develop something without that huge amount of investment money.
And there are places where you can get the capital to invest in your business too. There's so many places we can show you where that money comes from. So it doesn't have to be your money. We can have SBA loans. You can have a peer lending. You can do a Kickstarter campaign. I can go on and on. I have a list of 30 places where you can get the capital from. And you can bring on team members that are overseas, perhaps, that are cheaper, that can start working on the social media, the design, the product, the look, the marketing. You can have an incubator. You're in New York City, right? I know 5 incubators for female entrepreneurs that you can be part of. So do you see how you took an idea that's beautiful? You took some restrictions of your cardiology practice and what's expected of you, and we can start turning it on its head and opening up these world of possibilities. You're a dynamic individual. It's not the resources that I'm throwing at you that are going to get you there. It's the resourcefulness and this cerebellum that we have to switch on. And you have a hat of a cardiologist. You don't own the hat of an entrepreneur yet. We have to own that entrepreneur hat next. Does that make sense?
Makes sense, yeah.
Yeah. But you're right there. You're just right there. It's beautiful. I got you. You're my cardiology buddy. I got your back. Don't worry. All right. Who's next?
All right, cool. Raghu, are you ready to go? If not, James, you can go next, and I can come back to him. James, if you're ready.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Cool.
Yeah, for me and my wife, I mean, we're still both I would say like full-time nurse practitioners, but we started multi-family like about 18 months in as of today, and
Nice.
since then we've been I think we've been LP for about 1,000 doors now, and then
Fantastic, man.
we're also
Wow.
doing co-GP currently, and we're transitioning, combining both multifamily and assisted living, and we currently have co-GP for 2 deals actually for assisted living. Now my biggest part on our end is like fully transitioning into real estate and kind of like having like a I mean, we still want to practice on the medical field, but maybe just on a lesser work or as needed basis, I would say.
I love that. I love that. And you've proven concept, right? You had your main gig, you started doing the side hustle. The side hustle was starting to get lucrative and you had some success in it. Now you'd slowly back off the main one. And that's exactly what I did, right? People think we're as entrepreneurs, you have to be risky. No, you have to learn how to deleverage the risk. And you're doing the right way, James. And is it Silica?
Yes.
Okay, beautiful name. So yeah, so James and Silica, that's beautiful. You guys have strong careers, strong professions. That's why I love working with healthcare professionals, because you guys have a strong income, a strong career, and your backup in the world. Like Dr. Icy's backup is to be a freaking cardiologist. Wow, that sucks. That's a really hardcore backup. If her business doesn't work, he ends up doing multiple six figures a year. Like, that's the amazing thing, right? And so James and Silica, you have a strong salary, you have success. Now it's about how do we accelerate this? It's also about choosing the right opportunity vehicle, right? For her, it was a product that's an entrepreneurship that's going to be a business that she's going to launch. For you, it's a real estate. So then are we going to choose multifamily? Are we going to choose nursing homes, assisted living, whatever that is? We'll choose that asset class. And the key is to become a mastery. Many people don't succeed because they dabble. And what do I mean by that? So dabbling is like doing a little bit of this. I want to write a book. Oh, I want to launch a company. Oh, I want to do stock trading. I want to do real estate, and they never get good at anything. My goal is let us create a second six-figure income from one of your goals or strategies, and let's do that in the next 12 months. And from there, let's turn into a seven-figure opportunity. And that way, you can achieve your financial freedom. And so, I would urge you all to decide which asset class makes the most sense. So, what would you say? What do you think, Silica and James? What do you think is the next asset class for you guys? The main asset class you want to focus on?
I think for me at the moment, I mean, we're sticking between multifamily and assisted living. The more biggest part on this one is the real estate part. I mean, because it is the one that really offset with the taxes on our end.
Yeah. So what I would say is explore those and choose one, and then still keep your day job because it helps you qualify for the loans. But at some point, as you start partnering, building teams, and we're going to show you how to build teams. Uh, the biggest thing I want to teach most of you guys on the call, and this was something I had to learn myself, is to get your dreams, you need a team. And for example, real estate's a team sport. So is entrepreneurship. And it doesn't have to be a big, expensive team, but at the beginning, you need to know what you're doing. You need to get good at it, but then start hiring people. Like a virtual assistant is a no-brainer for everyone on this call. A virtual assistant can come from $200 a month to up to maybe $2,000 or $3,000 a month, but still very affordable compared to a U.S. employee. Eventually, you need to learn how to raise capital. That is another strategy I want to teach all of you here. I've raised, $400 million from friends, family, colleagues, eventually bigger, companies and institutions. That's very powerful. Another thing is recognizing how to partner, right? A lot of times, if you're a busy physician and you want to start a company, that doesn't mean you give up on the company. Perhaps you bring on a partner. And so the partner should have a complementary mindset to you. So let's say you're the visionary, you have a lot of ideas. You want to find a partner who has ability to execute, meaning if they see an idea, they can make it into reality, right? For example, if I didn't have my partner in Limitless, I wouldn't have been able to build this thing because I have a lot of great ideas, but I don't, it's harder for me to then go into the nitty gritty and be very detail oriented. And so I have a partner that does that. I also have a partner in real estate. And so I'm like, oh, I'm really good with broker relationships with investors and all that, but he's good with the asset management, right? So whenever and we'll get a couple of different stories here, but whatever the goal you want to do, perhaps it's with a partner or a team member. And then obviously we talked about creating the time. And then a lot of things you're like, oh, where do I get the money from? Getting the money is actually the most easiest part of anything you're trying to do, guys. It's not that hard to raise money. There's multiple sources. As long as you have what we call conviction, conviction is the most powerful way to convince anyone or persuade anyone or influence anyone that you know what you're doing and they're ready to, shake hands with you and do something with you. So when I heard Dr. Icy and her talking about her, hey, man, this is one of the best products out there. Everyone loves it. I know she has conviction in her product. She also has conviction that she's a damn good cardiologist. So she has two convictions. James and Silica, they're like, oh, we want to buy like $50 million for real estate. You guys are like off to the races. It's amazing. And so good. What is holding you back, guys? Let's work on limiting beliefs here. Anything holding you back?
I think one of the biggest challenges currently on my end, like what you mentioned already, is like the conviction. Like I think at some point we already hit the ceiling, especially for capital raising. So I think that's one big factor that we kind of like slow down on us in regards with the real estate. But the mindset, I mean, we're really committed to transition fully and kind of like switch gear.
Yeah, a lot of people have made that transition, so it's doable. And this is a skill set. It's not a magic formula. It's a skill set, and you can learn it. So just like you learned everything else, you can learn this too. Anyone had a hard time putting their first central line in, or like Foley or colonoscopy or their first catheterization? I mean, all of that stuff is challenging, but you learn it, you figure it out. See one, do one, teach one, kind of thing. Same thing here. So you guys can cultivate the relationships. I have this one guy. He has no connection. He has no famous. He knows no one. He doesn't have a silver spoon. And I think he was a pharmacist. And now he raises like multiple millions from the wealthiest families in New York City. And how he did that was for 4 years, he would travel from his home in a small town in Dallas or outside of Dallas to New York to meet these people over and over and over again. And he wouldn't take no for an answer. And after about 4 years, his black book of people he knows is ridiculous. He makes one phone call and like a $30 million deal is done. This is a pharmacist. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with being a pharmacist, but I'm saying usually a pharmacist won't have that kind of capabilities usually.
Right.
So that's what I'm trying to allude to. You guys are right there. We'd love to help you get to that next level. I think it's right there. I think capital raising, team building, getting really dialed into your asset, and then learning to partner. But stop being co-GPs. Let's get you to become GPs. That's where the real capital. That's where the real the wealth is, right? So I would love for you to do that. All right, who's next? Thank you, James. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sarah, I think you're next.
Oh, cool. Sarah, you're in a beautiful greenery out there.
Yeah, I'm taking advantage of being outside after a very wet, rainy season here. So
where are you from?
I'm in New York.
Oh, you're also in New York. Great.
Yeah.
There's a lot of New Yorkers. NYC represent.
I don't live in New York City, but definitely in what part of New York. So I met you, Vikram, for like 10 minutes about a year and a half ago. And you dialed right in with a conversation to help me figure out what I needed. And it was very instrumental. So I started my real estate journey then. And I've grown a lot since then. And it's been a super fun project. And, got a lot of equity, increased the equity in these properties really rapidly, and have put tons of sweat equity into it. And so recently I've kind of pivoted to doing something a little different and had an idea for like an innovative project that kind of combined real estate and medicine. And I came up with like the idea and researched it and went to Europe to research it and did a pitch deck. Had the opportunity to be in front of a potential solo investor, like definitely a billionaire.
Ooh.
And I took advantage of it. And that was hard to do because it was just really hard to do. But I did it.
Sarah, that's amazing.
And yeah, I was actually proud because it would have been a lot easier to just not do it. I wasn't there for that reason, but I took advantage of the proximity, and it turned into an amazing discussion. And he stopped me midway and looked at me and said, "This is a really, really good idea." And the conversation was like 2.5 hours long, unplanned. So that was great. But
I was waiting for the but.
I don't know what to do next because
What is your idea?
I gave it. It's like a niche in senior living and movement disorders.
Beautiful. Okay.
So, and I don't know if I mentioned, but my background is I'm a cardiologist. I'm an interventional electrophysiologist.
Oh, very nice.
So, and that's full time. So that's my main gig right now. But
Yeah, I was on a call before this with a couple of cardiologists, and there's two cardiologists here, maybe more on the call. It's awesome. Okay, great. Listen, that is amazing. What would you like? What's the outcome? So I'm going to pause Sarah, and I'm going to talk to the rest of the group here. I'm going to come back to Sarah in a second. But Sarah has sort of a goal here. It's not as clearly defined as I would like, but I like sort of the general setup right now. So for all of you here who have questions and goals and dreams and visions, let me offer you what we do with most people. It's called the LGS, right? It's a limitless growth system. What we do is we figure out what do you want, right? That you write that in the middle column, right? And then once you write down what you know what? I'll just do it with you guys. Here, I'm going to do a whiteboard right now. So here it is. It's what do I want? Okay, sorry. Here's my what. Okay, here we go. There you go. What, right? So here is, hey, and I don't know. We'll go back to Sarah and we'll actually do it properly with her. But Sarah could be like, hey, I want to start a movement, a real estate asset class where we take care of people with Parkinson's disease and movement disorders in the Northeast. You know, this is a new asset class. It's a form of assisted living. It's a form of senior care, and I'm going to create it. And I want to get my first asset bought by December 31st, 2025. Great. Why do you want it? Well, my grandma, you know, had Parkinson's and she didn't have the care she needed and she had a downward spiral and it really bothered me. And I want to make sure it never happens to anyone else. I want to, I love real estate. I love medicine. I want to combine them. I think there's a huge shortage in this country for this. I think this would help serve my family. It would give me multiple streams of income and I can back off on doing so many pacemakers every day. Great. Now the how, right? This is the why. This is the horsepower. This is when you hit a brick wall and you get discouraged and the banks say no and there's housing regulations against this kind of asset class and all this BS comes your way and you still figure out a way to get through it. This will fuel your grit, your perseverance, and your dynamism. And then finally, it's the how. Many doctors love to go to the how first and they get so discouraged because they can't figure out the how. If a building is on fire and your children are inside and the first way of entry is blocked, are you going to figure out second, third, fourth, fifth, ninth options to get in there and save your children? Yes or no? What do you guys think? Put in the chat box. Will you save your children? Yes or no? Are you guys with me? Are you guys falling asleep? Okay, good. Yeah, there you go. We will figure out the how. And sometimes the first, second, third, and fourth options may not make sense, right? And so what we need to do is we brainstorm like, let's call it 20 options. And what we do is then that gets overwhelming for many of us. So what we want to do is what we call 80-20. 20% of the things we do get us 80% of our results. So let's say she brainstormed and she realized, okay, options 1, 3, and 7 will probably get me to the goal. Great. We'll work on those first and we'll leave these in our bank to address later. And I forgot one more thing. There's a who. This is a two-parter. Who do I need to get to my goals? And who do I need to become to be the person who realizes my goals? It's a two-parter for who. Who can I bring onto my team to help me get there faster, better, stronger, quicker? And who do I need to be? What version of me needs to show up to actually hit this? Does that make sense for you guys? You can screenshot my chicken scratch if you like, but I'm gonna exit here. Okay, so back to Sarah. All right. Hi, Sarah, we're back.
Okay.
So I heard your goal. Can you define it a little bit more so it's really dialed in for me?
Yeah. So build a new, it's a whole new class of like senior care. And
Beautiful.
It would start with 16 bed that would soon be a 32 bed. And then that would then move to the 4 target cities in the first 4 years, 3 to 4 years.
Okay, awesome. And is there somewhat of an example you can use, perhaps as a memory care or something like that you can at least build the chassis off of, or is it have to be completely new?
No, it could be built off a specialized assisted living like memory care. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So we can go find someone who's done them. And what city would you like to start it in?
I think the 2 of the top 4 would be Naples, Florida.
I love Naples.
Yeah, and
Okay, let's just call it Naples. We just need one.
We'll just do Naples.
So guys, here, as a coaching here, you heard our goal. So what I would say is, hey, start this new form of movement disorder specialty care assisted living clinic, senior care clinic in Naples, Florida. It would be a 16 unit, and I want to have at least a building purchased by the end of this year with the plans on enrolling people into it by Q1 of next year. And so, Sarah, what are the challenges that can come from doing this project? What's the head trash in your head that's making you scared, worried, not sure, lack of clarity? What is it?
Well, I feel like I've mapped this out pretty well, and I found land, I have a builder, I have an idea of how to scale. Obviously, the funding is a huge factor. I don't think it's that I feel it's not out there, it's just how to approach it. And then since I had this opportunity to speak to what could be a solo investor and felt like he was very much aligned with this vision, my big obstacle now is, okay, well, he didn't come back and say, let's start this tomorrow. So I have this, I don't know what to do next. Like, how do I engage him? And then how do I know when to just pivot? And then if I pivot to capital raising, yeah, then I'll need a lot more help because that is all new to me.
Okay. So you have a beautiful idea, but a lot of times ideas die on our lips. But this idea deserves to see the light of day because it's going to serve so many people. Guys, I don't know if Sarah, Dr. Sarah, you can hear her in her voice. She's doing, obviously, we all want income, but she's doing it because of impact. She's doing it because of contribution, right? She could choose any other aspect. She's doing this very specifically. So there's a powerful why there, which we'll uncover later, but at least this is something she wants to do. So the first steps would really be, and this is pretty easy. Like if you used AI, for example, and say, hey, I want to create this thing and put all of it in there, just vomit everything into AI, it'll give you sort of a general game plan. But what AI can't give you is sort of the mindset and the way to think about it and the way to approach this, and then the way to systematically start taking action and steps consistently. It will also not give you the accountability, right? If she doesn't take steps consistently from now till December, this is not going to happen by the timeline we addressed. Also, if the billionaire shows interest and then he walks away, is all her source of capital wiped out, or can she still figure out how to raise capital? And what about the regulations and the city and the state regulations and all, and this personnel needed to run this thing? And then how do you combine the real estate with the business side? All these things. So these are all things and questions that she'll have to address. But it all starts with, hey, what does she want? Why does she want it? And let's start taking initial first steps. So let's do this today. What would be let's start with 3. What are 3 things you can do by next week to make major progress on this?
I think right now, it needs to focus on funding and a game plan, because I think the rest of it you mentioned, those are all huge obstacles, but I now realize that is completely all figure outable. It'll take time, legwork, but there's solutions for all of that. It's not completely, that's been done before, right? Just figuring out how to actually get a shovel in the ground, get started. Do you do it big and innovative, or do you do it small and the test run? So I think to me right now, it's just figuring out, I want to do it big. How do I do it with the money? And also, I really want your expert opinion on what you would do as a follow-up to my conversation.
Yeah, and I will tell you my expert opinion. That again, the goal of this mastermind of all coaching is really, how do we make Sarah where when we're not there, she's still resilient and she can figure all of this out.
Okay.
Continue to move forward. But I'm going to tell you what I would do. What I would do is I would come up with a pilot project and get this going, because before I invest millions of dollars into this thing, I want to make sure it's actually serves its purpose, actually helps the people with the movement disorders. 2, it makes sense real estate wise. And 3, the business model is tight and figured out.
Yeah.
First, you got to, I have this quote I want to say. Quote is essentially something like, first you got to, make it right, and then you can scale it. Essentially, but there's a cool way to say it, but it doesn't come to me right now. So bottom line is, we need to just get this off the ground. Let's say, we can get this off the ground not in 6 months. We can get this off in 3 months. We can do a 4 unit in upstate New York, wherever you are, right? Mm-hmm. We can do the fancy version later, but let's just make it feasible. You can even rent space in someone else's memory care and get 1 bed and get this project off the ground two weeks from now with one movement disorder patient. the key is start small, then scale, right? Number two is understand the rules and regulations. Go interview a ton of people who are doing this space, and get the late. Hey, I'm just curious. How did you get started? What did you do? What was your first steps? Figured all that out, right? And the third thing is YouTube and AI will give you a lot of the how in many things.
Yeah.
Between YouTube and AI, you can figure out how. And then the capital raising, once you can show proof of concept, it's a lot easier to raise capital versus all pie in the sky thinking with no proof, no track record, right? So if someone initially looks at you, they love the fact that you're a cardiologist, but beyond that, the credibility may not be there. So would I maybe partner with someone who's already done this in memory care and say, hey, I'm interested in doing this in this space. Would you partner with me? Would you JV with me?
Okay.
What happens is then you have a credibility, a track record. And now you're like, it's so easy. Then a bank is going to give you funding. And we've talked about SBA loans, bank loans, real estate loans, right? You can get the real estate part of it, and then you can get bank funding to do that. There's a company called BHG Financial, provides a lot of capital for things like this, right? A lot of physicians get loans from Bank of America or Truist because there's physician loans you can take out. You can use your HELOC on your home if you really believe in it and you have conviction, right? There's so many ways to get this going. Okay. So that I would start small, show me proof of concept, and then scale the hell out of it. But consider getting a partner who's already done this so you don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Okay.
I hope that helped. I'm so happy that some of the coaching I gave you many moons ago is paying dividends. That's great.
Yeah, for sure it is.
Looking forward to perhaps working with you in the future.
Thank you.
All right. Awesome. All right. Let's see here. Before I let Quay out, Vikram, because we know Quay is one of your phenomenal coaching clients, I want to let anyone else here, we got about 35 people here, raise your hand. Anyone else got a question before I?
Hey guys, I'd love to chat. This is an opportunity for us to get to know each other and see if there's anything we can do to help you guys.
All right, I'll give you guys in there 30 seconds. All right, Quay, you wanna join us?
Hey everyone. Hey Vikram. Hey Rohan and Sarah and Dr. Icy. So great to see you all. So Vikram, as you know, and I wanted the people here to know that I coached with you for a year, and it's because of my coaching with you that I was able to jump out there. You're like, okay, go find a market. Okay, go put together, a partnership. Okay, now go raise $1.7 million to take down the property you found. It's because of the coaching with you that it was able to acquire a multifamily property and then go on to be a co-GP in a 77 unit and to do a couple of capital raising projects this year. So basically, I'm looking to, what I found is that my strength is, I'm an attorney, married to an ortho trauma surgeon. That's why I get in these doctors groups. But my strength is in legal, investor relations, and capital raising. So I want to scale my capital raising, but in a way that will allow me to work, towards my quote unquote zone of genius. Not that I'm saying that I'm a genius. And then I've also have been approached by, I've built this community of women, and some of them need capital for renovations or whatever. So I'm thinking that, maybe I should think about establishing a private lending company. But you coach me to not sort of follow shiny objects. So trying to figure out at this stage of my life, how do I scale my work in a way that makes sense for where I am and for my objectives to kind of have this passive income coming in. That's not dependent on me driving 2 hours to Hartford like I did today to meet with the company that was repairing our underground sprinkler system. So.
That's awesome, Quay. Thank you so much for sharing. That's beautiful. I love those scenery too. Where are you?
That's so Stanford Yacht Club, my favorite place. So I come here to have some thinking time and to figure out what I should be doing and to, reflect on what you've taught me over the years.
Quay is a phenomenal client, guys. She's reinvented her health. She's become a savvy real estate investor. She's inspired hundreds of women in her community to become entrepreneurs and investors. She's partnered with a lot of people, done numerous deals. So it's a testament to her hard work and perseverance. So thanks, Quay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, guys.
Yeah.
Who has something for me? Otherwise, I'm happy to coach on anything you guys want to talk about. If there's anyone have a question?
Yeah, I think I saw one question was, so someone was asking Vikram, how do you get started in multifamily? And I think that there's a lot of people that see you, Vikram, see your success in multifamily, but you're obviously like 10, 12 years into this. I think how is someone who's like, okay, I like real estate, I like what you did in multifamily. There's passive investing, there's like REITs, there's like active
So,
investing,
so
capital raising. How do
yeah,
I make this?
I think the key is don't worry about the marathon. It's time to run your first 5K. Everyone wants to run a marathon, but let's start with the 5K. And what is that 5K for you? Is that a single family home? Is that just investing passively in someone else's deal? Whatever that is, just get started. And what happens is you think things are linear, but they eventually can become exponential. So what happened was a lot of my coaching clients, they start with a 1 unit, then a 3 unit, and a 5 unit, and then they realize, oh, the amount of work to do a 5 unit is the same as to do a 15 unit. They end up doing a 15, and then, and they start meeting people, right, in the space. So when you start meeting people in space, perhaps someone has more money, perhaps someone has more time, perhaps someone has more connections. And so you realize, hey, we grow quicker together than apart. And so a lot of success is from people working together with other folks who are like-minded. I can't say that enough. So don't get overwhelmed with the big goals. My first home was $28,000. It was a beat up like ranch, 3 bedroom, 2 bath, 1970s, 60s house in some rural part of Atlanta. I had no clue that I would ever be able to buy even a 4 unit, let alone a 400 unit. So sometimes you can't, like, I think it's Martin Luther King. You can't see the whole staircase. You can just see the first few steps. So just see whatever steps you can see. Let's take those steps together, and then eventually the staircase will reveal itself. There's no rush, and no one needs to. You go as big as you need to go, but there's no need to compare. Everyone has their own journey that they're on, and we have to figure out based on your goals, your dreams, your ambitions, and your time. Where do you want to go? Not everyone wants to be a billionaire, right? There's also the cost of being a billionaire.
Yeah, that's a great answer, Vikram. I'll chime in a little bit because I've had literally probably 50 people ask me that kind of question on the call. And really, I've seen a lot of people invest passively, invest actively. I think really it's just your time horizon. I think, Vikram, obviously you've had what, hundreds and hundreds of doctors invest with you passively, right? How many at this point?
Thousands.
Thousands, yeah. So obviously it's a very good choice. What I've seen is that obviously passive investing requires, you to passively invest. So it requires a good amount of capital, and normally a passive investment takes about 5 years to kind of turn, right? So that's the time horizon. On the other end of the spectrum, if you want to go and buy your own multifamily, it's definitely more work in the beginning, but you can probably get, more traction. Vikram, what do you see? Like, someone gets into active multifamily, how many years you think to kind of get a good deal done, get that traction? What do you think?
I mean, in about 6 months to 8 months in our community, someone can go from zero to hero, meaning they maybe they own their own home, that's about it, to getting 10, 20 unit done. Maybe it takes them the whole year, so be it. But then the next year they're able to go even faster. It's within 2 years, you go from not having real estate experience to becoming a seasoned real estate person. That's usually what I've seen. And our community is unique because there's so much support here. You have coaching, you have underwriting support, you have money in the room, right? Many of the groups that most people are part of, I'm sorry, but they're broke. Everyone is broke in the call, and there's nothing wrong with that. I was broke when I got started, but I made sure I surrounded myself with people who were not broke, who could help me. But that's the key, right? And then also a lot of people who are coaching me when I got started, they didn't actually do what I wanted to be coached on. You're going to be around people who've actually done it. So this is not theory. This is all actually done. So all of that is here. All we need is you, a hunger and a mindset and an ambition, and we're ready to rock and roll. But I think Mary has
Yep, Mary has a question. Go
yeah,
for
let's talk to Mary.
Hi, everyone. My name is Mary Ellen. I've been a nurse for 26 years and a nurse practitioner for 10, and I'm burnt out in the field.
Yeah.
And so I have cut down on work just to get my mental health straightened out and just to feel better. Spent time with my kids, done some growth that way. And we had some things happen. My husband's a computer engineer. We opened up a business in 2012 and we lost everything except for our home. And our home and the equity in our home ultimately has been there. And we had bought a triplex, which was in 2004, and we have that as an income source. My thing is that there's a couple other things that's happened where we've risked and we've lost. So when I've had money, like I had about I took out about 500,000 to do some work on something. A whole bunch of things happened that ultimately, most of that money is gone now. And so it's just, I feel like I've gotten myself from where I was 15 years ago and the drive I've had, or 20 years ago, and the drive I had to where I'm at now. I almost feel like I keep making mistakes and keep losing money, but I still have ambition and drive, and just, I want to add 2 more units. I'm in Los Angeles. I want to add 2 more units to the space that I have for my triplex. I would like to do functional medicine, holistic health privately for people. I'm actually been working on in my home and creating a space where I grow fruit and vegetables. I have 80 fruit trees. I've done different things that are like really great things. I'd love to host classes in my backyard. All these
Yeah, of course.
So I'm at a place now that so I have all these ideas, but I don't have direction, and I don't really know. And we also had a house up in Washington, and while we were in the midst of it, the house flooded, and we did not have money to fix it, so we had to hand it back to the bank. Like all these crazy stories, but I don't want to live by the past, but at the same time, I'm just not sure how to navigate the future. So anyways, I don't know if that helps at all, and there's any ideas there, but that's where I'm at. I've taken a functional medicine course. I've taken a course on holistic health, breath work. I'm taking I've done, like, I got certification, tons of certifications and tons of things. I'm a life coach, a dream builder life coach. So I'm constantly learning. I also found out that I have ADHD, which I did not know. But I think it's a asset, in life. You're multi-passionate,
Mary Ellen, I think all good entrepreneurs should have ADHD. But thank you for sharing. Thank you for being authentic and vulnerable and letting us in. Look, all of that you've shared and you're still standing. You're still smiling. You still have a car. You still have a roof over your head. You still have your beautiful children. You still have an amazing husband.
Yeah.
You're still healthy, and you're still learning, and you're still growing, and you're still contributing. So what that means is all those tests are going to be part of your testament as you succeed now. All these stories, limiting beliefs, maybe that's part of the journey so you can help others in a much greater way. And listen, all the mistakes I've made, 4-figure mistakes, 5-figure mistakes, 6-figure mistakes, 7-figure mistakes, and I'm proud to say I've even made an 8-figure mistake. So
okay.
I wish it didn't happen, but I've learned a lot from it. And so what I'm doing is all of that is now I'm reframing it as, instead of mistakes, I'm reframing it as wisdom. So you have this warehouse of wisdom that we can tap into as we move forward. Now, would you say that if someone perhaps was next to you whispering in your ear about when you're about to make some of these decisions, could you have avoided some of these mistakes, perhaps? Not all of them, but some of them.
Absolutely. And that's actually something that I've had to deal with, because I had wanted to, instead of buying we bought a Mako body shop in 2008.
Yeah.
And instead of doing the Mako body shop, I actually told my husband, I said, why don't we use the $800,000 that we pulled out of our homes to buy a building? But at the time, it was more my husband's than mine. And he was like, let's just do the business so that we can make more money. And so I've had to deal with resentment and process that, on top of and it's not his fault. The economy went crazy during that time, but I've also had to deal with those kinds of feelings. Like we should have had, I marry into this.
And so the key really is, it's learning to be at peace at some point. And from the peace, we can find the next path and journey upward, right? There's no straight lines in nature. If you haven't noticed, there's no straight lines in nature, and there's none in life as well. All of this, there is a gift somewhere there. And maybe you have to dig deep here, but there's a gift, right? So let's use this. And look, what's your age? You look so young. What are you?
I'm 49.
This is halftime, my friend. You know how many teams have come back after losing in the first 2 quarters to destroy it in the second half?
Yeah.
Are you ready to win?
Have more babies. I actually have frozen embryos. I actually want to have more babies.
Well, if it's scientifically possible, why not? But bottom line is the second half of your life is going to be the best half of your life. Okay, so let's make it happen. Let's live to 100 and 120. Like, look, you're going to learn biohacking longevity in our program, even though that's not what you're here for. So if you're interested, we really believe in vitality. So that's a lot of that stuff you'll learn. But getting to 100 to 120 is, most people are saying that's going to happen as long as you can be healthy till 2030. There's something called the longevity as escape velocity, and we're going to have the technology and the science that will become commercialized where most people will live to 100 and beyond. So there's a lot of brightness and optimism for the future. But that being said, forgive, learn, and recalibrate, and let's decide and architect out what we want in the future and use all these experiences as most entrepreneurs who are the most successful I know have a trauma story from the past, and the trauma drove them harder to be successful in the future. So this will be your fuel. Let's decide, if we end up working together, I'd love to figure out, hey, what is it? Where does he want to go? And what we'll do is, like people are talking about, we're not going to run the marathon. We're going to run the 5K first. We'll figure out what is your 5K. Is it the coaching? Is it real estate? Is it something else? Well, I don't know. We'll figure it out. But we'll do that as the first sprint, and then as you start seeing success compounds on success, and you're going to start going from linear to exponential, and then we'll either add on to that or we'll do something on top of that.
All right, thank you very much. This is the first time I've met you, and I just want to. I'm so grateful that I pressed to come on this program. Thank you.
Good to see you.
All right, Vic. I think that's it. I don't see anyone else with any hands up. I'm gonna give everyone 2 more minutes. Put your hands up.
You want to put on the? I'll just put the little thing for was it the QR code or whatever?
I've been putting in the chat.
Okay, good.
I think I've already seen the. I got a nice and busy day tomorrow, Vikram. So
okay, good. Guys, I care about you. Oh, wait, I got one more. Mehdi?
Oh, perfect. Yeah, of course.
Let's do it, man.
Unmute.
Okay, hi, Vikram. How's it going? Can you hear me?
Yes,
hey, how are you?
Hey, how's it going, man? Awesome, man. Thank you very much. Sorry, I came late. I'm a pediatric dentist. I was in the office. I had patients till like right now in Pacific time. So I just jumped. Oh my God, it's already 5:30.
Awesome, man. You say you're a pediatric.
How's it going? All good. Yeah, I've been following you. Actually, I was in a Bezos Kulian live event 2 days ago, a couple of days ago.
Oh, BK Live, yeah.
Yeah, that's how from him I know you. I mean, I get to know you for Instagram.
Yeah. He's a good.
I've been following you for a while.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Actually, no, he talked about you in the office in the conference. I heard your name somewhere. I don't know, maybe on their website or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. So yeah, my question was, Vikram, I mean, I'm at the stage that I opened my own practice like a year and a couple of months ago, and you know how it is. It's a new office, it's a startup practice is been crazy last couple of months, with all the stuff that we're doing. I've been really interested in real estate and start investing start investing and start building a legacy and family and everything for the future. But I mean, I've been stuck, not doing anything, not converting, not basically putting a step forward to do it. And I know you're in the other side of, except your coaching, you have another program for doctors, MDs, or whoever wants to get into that stage of apartment investing or come in that other side. Is it something that can be discussed here today, or is something that?
No. We'll discuss everything today. So what I've done is I used to just do like a special program for just people who wanted to go into real estate, but okay. I realized I'm not doing a good service for them because I want them to have everything. What we created with the Infinite Mastermind is, I would say 50% of the people are interested in real estate, but other 50% are interested in other things. But what happens is in this community, in this environment, you get to be successful in freeing up time, scaling your clinic, doing real estate, meeting like-minded individuals, learning if you needed capital or money for any project, and then your mindset evolves, and you form partnerships and friendships, and you start thinking at a much higher level, sophisticated level. You learn about tax planning and optimization and financial planning and all of it. So that I wanted to make it more of a comprehensive program instead of just pure real estate, and so that's what we've evolved into recently. So not recently, in the last few years, but tell me, you're starting to practice and you want to get into real estate. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, yes, we opened up last year, 15 months ago.
So get into real estate you would like to, you obviously can use other people's money, but ideally you can use your money too. And so what I would do is I would scale your clinic very fast. I'd want to get it to multiple seven figures, and maybe multiple locations. And then you're going to have so much income coming in that you can start buying first the real estate on those assets, perhaps, the medical office real estate, but then you can start then investing as well. And there's three forms of real estate, and I'll share it with everyone on the call. There's passive, where you just, hey, here's some money, invest it, I want some returns, and maybe I'll get some tax breaks. Then there's this other one, which is active, where you're being more active. I'm going to find a property, a short-term rental, the multifamily, the small multifamily, whatever it is. And then there's a middle one, which is actively passive. Many of you guys have a network that's very powerful. Many of you guys, if I ask you how many six-figure people do you have on your phone, not all of you, but a lot of you, many of you are going to say, hey, I have 5, 10, 15, 20, 100 people on my phone who have six figures. And what you can do is then monetize that by creating a group and then investing as a group. But because you're the leader of the group, you also get some money from as an investor. So that's called actively passive. So those are three forms of real estate. Obviously, we talked about scaling the clinic. And scaling the clinic, it's going from single location, single person, maybe a front desk, to maybe eventually adding, scribe, operations person, billing, all that kind of stuff, and eventually NPs, PAs, scaling it bigger. And then the key is in a business or any practice, there's 4 constraints. It's the constraint of it's this mindset of the CEO. Oh, I need more patients or more leads coming in. That's another problem. The other problem is, oh, I have too many patients and I don't know how to manage all the volume. And then the last one is operations and systems. So we will, depending on what stage you are in your clinic, we can help you figure out which one it is and solve that. And then you'll go to the next problem and then we'll help solve that. And that's how it is. Problem, solve, like that.
But your recommendation is basically, so I don't do that. Let's focus on the business, grow that more, and then get
I'm not saying it's hard to do active real estate and actively start a new clinic. I'll be honest.
No, I know. All my time is taken here.
Neither one is going to succeed hugely because of the time commitment. That's all.
Of course, yeah, because I don't have time yet. I mean, when I opened up my practice, it just takes all my time, literally. Because you have to you're wearing a ton of hats. Yeah.
But in 12 to 18 months, I can help free up your time by then, and you will then have time to do real estate. But right now, the goal is, are you at 7 figures yet or not for your clinic?
No, we're in sixes.
Yeah. No. So the number one goal is, if we work together, is I would get you to 7 figures as soon as possible. That's what we have to do. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense to even start a clinic.
No, it doesn't make sense. You just like basically, I'm earning less than I was an associate.
Yeah. So let's get figures. The sooner the better.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I got you. Now, thank you very much for your advice. Now, for sure, we'll keep in touch and we'll see what we can do.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thanks for your time.
All right, Rohan, are you still there?
I am. Sorry, I'm just running around here a little bit, but I think it's pretty good, Vic. There might be one other question in the chat if you want to answer it. Otherwise, we can wrap up.
Okay. Let's see here. Marius. Okay. Any recommendations for starting physicians just out of fellowship and still building capital and paying off student loans? All this sounds amazing. Opening own practice, starting real estate, but what kind of things do you recommend doing? If you're just getting out of fellowship, it's education, right? It's education, it's financial literacy, it's creating goals and dreams, it's learning. You can also, to do an STR is not that hard. You can potentially partner with family, friends, and do one project like that. It's also learning to decide you want to be working for somebody or you want to start your own clinic. That's important. And an entrepreneurial side hustle, you can do that without being a major capital earner. I know people, you can start an AI company on the side, perhaps that can help physicians. You can start digital marketing, social media. You can start coaching, consulting. You can start something on the side that you have some expertise in too. So there's a lot of things you can do. And since you're not making that money, probably tax liability is not an issue at that point. So those are some of my general things. But a good book to read for a lot of you guys on this call is Secrets of a Millionaire's Mind. It's a really good book that helps get out of this scarcity mindset and get into more of that mindset. I don't know about the visa issues there, so I'm not gonna make an answer on that one. I think that's all I have.
Awesome. I think it was great, Vikram. Thanks everyone for joining us. We really appreciated you, and look forward to talking with many of you tomorrow and seeing you guys in the future.
Love to work with you guys. Talk soon. Bye.